You need to flex the light bulb, okay? Did it pull out? Yeah, it went out. Understand. Okay, what was... Now that I have... Okay. I'm going to need... Ooh! I'm going to see about something here. This room is so dark.
In there, and Grace will stay here, I guess. Is that what we should do? Just stay here. Just stay here. Okay. All right.
She read 30 books in 30 days. Can you imagine? A book a day for months. I wanted to find...
Oh, great and silly. Not in real experience. Unless you're Matilda. I need others. Too little too late. Should have thought of doing that in 2018. For the love of Pete. That was the honeymoon period for reading. But it doesn't mean that it's not still the honeymoon period. There's no such thing as a honeymoon period. Okay. using my markers up too quickly. Beautiful. Anything else? Really, that's it. Sounds like Gordon's wind. It sounds like that one thing. Oh, it's so pretty. I think that this would make a great dance. Okay. You know, those songs where it stops and it just gets really, really climactic, and I wish that was the case. But anyway, now I know what you're thinking. It's so dark in here. Why can't I turn the light on? Well, I would if I could. I don't know what happened. Just suddenly the light bulbs just shut off when I tried to open it. Okay, so today I feel a little bit more, fresh and, interested in things. Because yesterday when we would have a meeting, I was going through the motions and I was not really feeling in the mood to do much. But I was bored. I don't want to dwell on that, though, because yesterday was yesterday. The past is in the past, and, we can't change the past, but we can alter the present and the future. if we could, that would be great. Nobody would make any mistakes, except that the ones that they can't remember that they made. But nobody's perfect. Everybody does things for some reason or another. And that's, what happens. We don't, we come into it with a mentality that maybe, in theory, and then, we realize a little bit too late down the line that we should have, started out this way. We should have done this. Well, we live and we learn. We can only learn. The best way to learn is through doing things, through experience. We don't learn necessarily by, watching or, reading this and that, but we learn by doing. I mean, you can learn greatly through the other things, but nothing really compares, does it? And if, we could, literally escape into what we were reading, then, I think that in this day and age, I think that people would be, so turned on. And if you could read characters, then that would be one of the best things ever. But still, I keep hearing a little sound, and I hope that's just, my, me hearing things. You know why they say November? Because there's no bugs in November. Now, besides the little ladybugs, kind of, and some of the ants crawl around, there's really no bugs in November. There really isn't. So, as you can see, Abby Lee is here with us. I just want to congratulate you for putting on an award-winning performance at the Astropalooza, with the astrology signs. Definitely. Especially the one for Scorpio. That was, and the one for, my sun sign especially. And Aquarius was very neat too. And I gave you new music to, do a dance to. That song, it's called The Music of November. The Song of November. And that could be, something that you could use too. I think that you could, do great with that. I think, that you're very, very creative and you're very, excellent at what you do. With, the costumes and, choreography. Although, I will say that I do notice a lot of synchronization. So, it would be nice to, kind of, everybody would do different movements, but all those movements would align, but they wouldn't necessarily be the same movements that everybody was doing. I mean, just another number that, put a pool there, maybe put some noodles and, fill it with water, and there would be like an Olympic race addition to it. Seriously. So that's one little, thing. I'm not a person who is passive and who holds ideas in. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in, really being aggressive and being forceful. No. I believe in being assertive. And that's how I encourage all of you to be. Because I think that you'll, it's like there were several times that, oh man, I wish that I, said this and made this clear, to this person and expressed how I felt. Oh, I wish that I, got to know this person. Again, the past is in the past, but it's also a good learning experience that we hold on to and remember the past, moving on from it. but using the past as a lesson. That's, the important thing with, history. If we think about Hitler and we think about the Jews and everything. How many of you were in the 20th century world class at Kindle? Okay. Exactly. Yes. Yes. People, when the Munich Pact was signed, they thought, there was a trust deal. They thought, it's kind of like Amazons. You think that, that, people are being truthful, but you need to be very, very suspicious and very cautious because he made everything, so much worse and, and Deborah Silverman was actually, you had an article about that on the Scorpio Taurus full moon. And, you talked about, fascism and all these things being really, really bad. And I understand that you, no guilt, no feeling like, I'm behind with everything, but just putting it out there. So several things that I am going to not be truthful about. Because, that will be very sacrificial if I'm truthful about some of those things. You need to realize that, previewing something, previewing this, is not the same as actually getting into something. They're two different things entirely. So you had a book that you read over, somebody in prison, right? I was reading. Have you ever, here's a couple of other things that go along with that. Now, way back, you weren't here, but on September 26th, that was the weirdest day, recently. Because the temperature was 78 degrees. It was a cross between being too hot or, not warm enough to wear, summer clothing. But not necessarily cool enough to wear what I'm doing now. Something I don't, kind of crappy about in September. But so anyway, the Count of Monte Cristo. Maybe you could use that and look at, that'd be a good idea. Taking movies, taking, books and, talking about the astrology. You could do, several articles, on, that you could do one for, Count of Monte Cristo, maybe the, Shawshank Redemption, which is something that we saw. So, Shawshank. And I know you were saying I had to get it approved. I can, take over and control anything that I darn well please because, well, then, that's the joy of being an Edmonton leader. Is that there's not a higher power. Even though there's officials who run and manage and look after the building, the Edmonton headquarters, then it's kind of a communist fear-based idea. And it will never turn like it did back in history. I can assure you. But I had to get it approved because I cannot count how many times I heard unpleasant language. I don't know if you remember this, but remember when you had JoJo watch the movie Carrie? That movie? Okay. Well, I didn't think that, that you, knew better to, give a violent and, inappropriate, graphic, rated R film to, that, young age. That's not right. But that would be the equivalent of giving the Shawshank Redemption. So the Shawshank Redemption is also a prison story, and looks at a code hero kind of thing. One of the things that I focus on because I'm a remote teacher for American literature class, and you could do something on this, how the inmates and trying to survive through jail and and what getting out and having hope and and being a better person come out in the end. So I think that you should really do something about that. Another thing that that you should do, since I know that you're a really good writer, and if I were to write it, probably wouldn't be the same. But there was a song that I played for my mention, and since I have all the time in the world because I cleared so much off of the phone, I just want to play that song. It's from, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's called, it's from the Scorpions.
In 5 seconds, you could.
For the love of Pete, it's Send Me an Angel. Have you heard of that? Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Well, you could talk about that song, and you could talk, because when I heard that song, it's very, Scorpio, because it talks about, going down a journey through death and transformation and kind of, entering a place where, a Scorpio would feel at peace and, comforted and would belong. And basically, for Scorpio, the light and the dark are flipped. So the light is the dark and vice versa. But, so you could definitely do something about that as well. Do 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 do. And by the way, we're going to be we're actually practicing that for the concert at the very very end. So I think that we really have it. We're just kind of tweaking, really refining it. And, okay, I'm sounding like somebody who was a main Gemini. But so anyway, everybody, I'm just going to kind of walk you through the routine of how things are going to go today. I might have, got off on something, but I can't remember if I did or not. So, others. So we're going to get into that, okay? There's going to be several groups that we're going to be doing. The reading comprehension group this time. No, we're not going to be doing that this time around. Well, actually, come to think of it, we will do that. So others, follow the House of Usher audio. I think that we might listen to that. Okay, things will be very, very, very quick. So, that whole big introduction was the longest amount of side talking that I will do. Okay, because there's a lot of things that I want to cover. So, follow the House of Usher audio. Be reading that, getting into stories having to do with November and, Edgar Allan Poe, who was the, horror writer. That could be a good idea. Who was interestingly a Capricorn. And, let's see, so he wrote that, and, he's a very twisted, very psychological writer. I think that you'll definitely find that when you go into this house. It's great detail, and I think for his stories, I think that, someone, reading it would be kind of a neat experience to hear how it would sound because, it would be kind of spreading myself a little thin, trying to, sit down, and read it, and we'll be doing, long way down sometime, either audio or, whenever I find the time and the right amount of leisure to do so. So there will be several things that will be on audio that I do want to really, achieve so that I don't feel like I'm stuck in the Dragon Rider. Next year, just a little reminder, we'll be doing at least, it might change, but I think starting on March 21st, it should really be the first day of the year, because it should start spring and then rise up, and then, so we'll be doing an astrological theme, so we'll be reading a novel for each of the different signs, and maybe short stories relating to Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, all of those things. So for Gemini, we might look at, the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian, for example. For Cancer, something more homey and emotional, that kind of thing. So, you never know. Charitalia Season 28, that's our Golfy number. Remember who was born on September 28th? Season 2, technically, of Charitalia. That would be St. Vincent, or, what's her name? Annie Clark. So if there is a woman who is thin that has a type of haircut, a type of look, like St. Vincent or the actress who played in Supergirl, the adopted sister. If any woman has that appearance, then they are considered golfy women. Okay, golfy women. That is what they are. It doesn't have to be exactly, but it can be in the more general. And no, Sarah Brightman is not a golfy woman. Erica Seeley, who was actually here a long time ago, in April of 2015. I have such good memories. If you're wondering, I know what you're thinking. She would be considered a golfy woman. So, anyway, Charitalia Season 28. So, specific episodes. I want you, to watch the episode where she is going to be making, bucaletti, which is, a type of pasta, from, Trampany, or something. It's kind of, where you have the pasta, and you're going to be, watching it and thinking to yourself, who is the time to do this? It's like she makes pasta. She has a big garden where she has, I think every possible thing. So it's a raw sauce through a mortar and a pestle, tomatoes, pine nuts. That's very, very Sicilian. You think raisins, pine nuts. There's actually a town in Italy which has a festival for the walnuts, I think. So that would be that episode that you could watch for today, and tomorrow we'll be getting into watching about Italian vegetable dishes, so episode 1. And one of them is going to look like Virgo. So anyway, Golfy connection to Supergirl, pay, close attention. Also, I did put a mentioned person analysis on there for, St. Vincent. I should have done that before. In October when she was here, when we were making that short film on Mary Poppins, and she was Mary Poppins. It's taking, they, mention people, who were here and analyzing them. So, we'll get to, Jill, Vertes and all of those people come down the line. But I want you to do hers, okay? Both of these need to be done by Saturday. That will be November 7th when that show will be on, which I have complained about. Exactly that show. It's a wonder why I even watch it. The quality is so poor, and it's kind of disgusting. I don't know why, but so anyway, they will both be needing to be completed by that November 7th. So when I say both those two, one over her and then the other over the actress for the one in resemblance to her in in the Supergirl. And the next week will be the resemblance of the main character in Supergirl to Bridget Mendler, who played as Teddy Duncan. Okay, and then next week will be Million Esposito, and then Jill Vertes, all those people. So, that is that. So, female masculinity. Another one is Danica Patrick. Pretty intense. I'm pretty intense. I have Sun in the always moon in Scorpio, vice versa. I could have had that. And I will never admit that I easily could have had that. And I'm going to tell you that in the year that I was born, the moon did not move to Scorpio until late in the day on my birthday. I'm talking at the very, very end of it. So no, I was not born 5 to 10, 15 minutes before it changed. No. Because I could be 1 in a million. That's not real. So that will not be true. So anyway, female masculinity. So interesting. Aries females. Young Aries females. If there is a female who has that, for some reason, a masculinity to them as well as a femininity. I know that there was an infusion of, several people.